Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk, back with another video today. And yeah, I'm probably a little bit confused about the pitcher. This is Will Barton on the pitcher. Not going to get into it right away because, you know, the Will Barton news that came out today will be talked about at the end of this video. So yeah, but that was Will Barton in the MLB All-Star Celebrity Game, NBA player for the Nuggets. We'll talk about his news in a minute, but we're going to go from how stuff happened. So, yeah, if you just wait a second, we'll get to the Will Barton stuff, which was easily the most important stuff today. So, starting things off, Kevin Love. Kevin Love has not discussed or considered retirement yet, which I don't think he'll do. I think there'll be a trade. But this might be a decision that Kevin Love might decide to make. Won't be surprised if it happens. But I honestly, I don't think he wants to end his career in Cleveland. They have made him look like a dog's ass in the last couple years since LeBron left. You know, I'd say maybe even the year before LeBron left, they made Kevin look like dog shit, to be honest, because they made him just look dog shit because of all those injuries that Kevin Love had, to LeBron making Kevin look like he couldn't do shit out there because LeBron felt like he needed to go get 50 every given night, but really he didn't. LeBron never really needed to go get 50 every night. You know, he could, and I'm talking about the 17-18 season, by the way, but he could. He could go get 35, 40 a night with this 18 LeBron, but he didn't have to. He could have limited himself, and he could have given it to Kevin. You know, you get 18 to 22, and I'll calm down a little bit. Maybe you get 35, and I'll focus on my assists. No, LeBron just made it me. Like Shaq talked in Kobe's funeral. He said once that Kobe was not passing the ball to somebody, and he said to Kobe, which I feel like I should put a clip in this. He said to Kobe, well, the player came to Kobe or to Shaq, and he said, well, Kobe's not passing the ball. So Shaq went to Kobe, and said, hey, Kobe, you need to be passing the ball. There's no I in team. And he says, yeah, there's not, but there's an M-E in that motherfucker. Yeah, that makes LeBron look like that. And Kevin Love, I think ever since then he's just looked like not good. Nada. He's just looked like nada. And I think this year was the worst of them all. And I think the fact that the Cavaliers haven't traded him yet is disrespectful on their end. And seriously, if they don't trade him this year, I think he should disrespect them by retiring in the middle of the season. Because I don't think they're going to trade him, but they have been just so mean to him. They've been in a rebuild for 3 years now, and they've kept a injury-prone veteran who has clearly not want to be there. It kind of seems like they're just trolling him, but yeah, moving on. Wizards give Wes Unseld excuse me. Wizards give Wes Unseld Jr. a 4-year deal. Yeah, you know, I did talk about the hiring yesterday. If you want to go check that out. I didn't really bring much up about it. Brought a little bit up about his dad and his prior work with Denver. But yeah, congrats to him. He's going to look like he's going to be the coach from until the 2026-27 season, I believe. And if he does well, more than that. Or he could just be shit next year and get fired next offseason, but I don't think he will. I think he'll be a good coach. If Russ stays, I don't think Beal stays, but if Russ stays, excuse me, if Russ stays and they get a good package for Beal, I think they could be a nice little interesting team to watch during the regular season. Because if if Russ doesn't have a partner, Russ is going to be Russ. And if Russ is going to be Russ, then Russ is going to go out there and do whatever the hell he wants and be God mode. He's that kind of player, and one of the best point guards I've ever seen do it. But, yeah, if Russ stays, which looks like it might happen, looks like he might get traded, it could go 50-50 at this point. Bradley Beal can go 75-25 not in the Wizards' favor. But if they trade Beal and keep Russ, I have Russ maybe being an MVP candidate. Yeah, and here's the one where you see the guy with the Rockies shirt or jersey, Will Barton. And this has to do with Denver, too. Will Barton to decline player option. Nuggets guard will turn down $14.7 million player option to become free agent. Both sides hopefully to reach new deal. I'll talk about that in a minute. If you don't know or don't remember me saying this a couple minutes ago, yeah, he played in the recent All-Star Celebrity Game. To be honest, he did pretty bad. But not everybody has good talents at baseball or softball. Not everybody has to be good at softball, though. But, yeah, he's going to become a free agent. I think most likely this is the best place for him to go back. But I think this is a stupid move by Will Barton. If we're just being totally honest here, Will Barton is aging. He is not as the same player. So I think he's going to lose money this offseason. And I don't get this. But if he really wants to sign somewhere that is a championship contender and is willing you're willing to lose all that money, then excuse me, willing to lose all, or not all. That'd suck. But a lot of that money because you're aging and you're not worth it what you used to be as you were a couple years ago, then yeah, don't really have to talk much more about it. I guess then it's worth that to him. So I look it up and I was like kind of interested in this because I was like, there's other players on player options. And if I'm going to bring this Will Barton up, this Will Barton free agent rumor, or not rumor, news actually happening because he's going to be a free agent, officially going to be a free agent, why don't I talk about all the other players on player options? There's 16 players on player options. I think 5 have already made a decision. We're going to go over it. Starting with Chris Dunn, point guard for the Atlanta Hawks. $5.3 million he can get if he opts in. Now they have to make their decisions. Some have different dates. So yeah, his decision has to be made by July 28th. Now it is 12:32 right now, so that means he has to make his decision in 10 days, as it's already Saturday. Spencer Dinwiddie, if he opted in, which that means he did not opt in, he would have gotten $12.3 million, but he already opted out and will be an NBA free agent. He did that a couple weeks ago when the Nets got eliminated. Al-Farouq Aminu, he opted in and got $10.1 million staying in Chicago. This is a smart move from Al-Farouq Aminu. Starting with the Bulls are going to be a nice team next year. I believe they will sign Lonzo Ball and have a great trio of Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, and Nikola Vucevic, and have a young, nice little developing player former fourth overall pick Patrick Williams. So I think this is a smart move for Al-Farouq. And think about this. He hasn't been the best in the last 2 seasons. And really, he would have lost a lot of money, just like Will Barton. But Al-Farouq Aminu is just smarter. Will Barton, we talked about him, but I will talk about the numbers. So he's opting out of $14.7 million. I already said that. Yeah, I did. And his due date was today. So that's why his decision was due today. His decision date was due today. Next, we got Isaiah Hartenstein. So Isaiah Hartenstein, Cavaliers center, $1.7 million, due July 25th. Yeah, I think most likely he's going to opt out. That doesn't mean he will not return with the Cavaliers. I think Isaiah Hartenstein is much more worth than $1.7 million, and I think he knows that. And I think he knows he can get from anywhere to maybe $3 to $6 million of a contract. So, yeah. Moving on, we got Josh Richardson. $11.6 million is due, or for him if he wants to opt in. And strange here, no due date, no decision due date. I don't know if there's something wrong with the app, just never said one. Next, we got Kevin Looney, Warriors power forward, opting in, $5.8 million to stay with the Warriors. Yes, pretty much smart move. The Warriors are going to be very good next year, and nice to stay with your home. I think you may have lost some money. Kawhi Leonard, $36 million. If he opts in, which he won't, he'll be expected to opt out. Not anything reported yet, but I really think that Kawhi. I think Kawhi maybe can get from any area of $5 to $15 more million than he had on his last contract. So maybe that means $160 million of a full contract. This is just out of a yearly average. But yeah. So Serge Ibaka, $9.7 million. If he opts in, no decision due date here as well. I don't know. So there's like 3 of these players that don't have them. So yeah, I think Serge Ibaka most likely will do it. But we'll have to wait and see. Montrezl Harrell, $9.7 million, decision due by July 31st. Yeah, I think Montrezl is kind of a toughie here, because I think he knows that if he opts in, that he'll get traded. So would that maybe mean that the Lakers would trade him to somewhere he doesn't want to go? So that's why. But his due date is July 31st. Bobby Portis, $3.8 million, due by July 28th, his decision. You know, I'm not going to do a post-game for it, but the Bucks won tonight. And if the Bucks win the NBA Finals, I still see him opting out. Doesn't mean, again, just like Isaiah Hartenstein, doesn't mean he'll leave. I think he'll totally stay if they win the championship. But the thing you got to think about is Bobby Portis is much more worth than $3.8 million. And most likely will opt out, then re-sign with the Bucks. Brent Forbes, another Bucks player, he and Bobby Portis have the same decision due date, July 28th. Brent Forbes, if he opts in, will get $2.4 million. I think he'll do the same thing as Bobby Portis if they win the championship. Opt out, get more money, and re-sign with the Bucks. Chris Paul, another player in the NBA Finals. Chris Paul, if he opts in, would get $44.2 million, but he's expected to opt out. No decision made yet, but expected to opt out, and doesn't mean, again, another player, doesn't mean he will not resign. If the Suns win the championship, I could maybe see him leaving because he's accomplished his goal. But if he doesn't win the championship, which I think there's a very good chance he will not, then I think he would re-sign with the Suns. Norman Powell. So, yeah, $11.6 million due. Due date is July 22nd. That will be the next one we see of a player option player. But, yeah, I think most likely he will opt out to get more money. Doesn't mean he will leave. I think most likely leave, but we'll see. Derrick Jones Jr., $9.7 million if he opts in. I think he opts in, which is his actually due date is July 28th. I think he opts in, and they trade him. But, yeah. If when we end this, so, Chris, you got the first one we'll see next is July 22nd, Norman Powell. We will see a July 25th. Who is it? It's Isaiah Hartenstein, July 25th. JaMychal Green, July 26th. July 31st for Harrell. July 28th for Portis. 28th for Forbes. And 28th for Derrick Jones Jr. And last rumor, former Baylor star and projected first-round pick Jared Buttler medically cleared to play by NBA Fitness. Yeah, 2 claps for Jared Buttler for being cleared to play. Congrats to him. Most likely, actually, I don't even have to say most likely NBA player. Most likely first-round pick. Don't really know yet, but hopefully he does get drafted in the first round, maybe to the Rockets if they trade for a really like high 20s pick, which I think the only way they do that is if they make a trade with the Clippers, and I think the only way they would draft Jared Buttler at 25 is if they were in love with him. But yeah, that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about the player options, Kevin Love, Wes Unseld Jr., and Jared Buttler. So yeah, that's it for the video, and peace out.